Today I'm going to go over how I install my EG4 280 amp hour floor standing battery. So as you can see here, it's all connected up, powered up. It is running. So I'm going to go through some safety things that you need to really pay attention to whenever that you're hooking up a battery. Now, as you can see, there's no communication cables connected, and that's on purpose. Little known secret, you do not need to use communications on your inverters and on your batteries. You can go by voltage, and that is the lead acid mode, at least with these 12,000 XP inverters. So I'm going to go over how it's connected, why I connected it this way, why it's a very safe installation, and just kind of what my recommendations are. Looking at the battery, you can see that I'm using the standard 2-aught cable that came with it. It has the Amphenol connector on one end, and then it's connecting to my Blue Sea fuse holder. I am using South Bend UL listed fuses. I believe this is 225 amps. With this being welding wire, and I believe it's rated for 90C, the fuse is sized appropriate for it. They probably could go a little bit smaller on the fuse, but 225 is fine. Now, as you can see, I'm not using conduit. You should use conduit. That's something that I would recommend doing. I do use sleeves for my cables, in which it's currently not on this, but it will be installed in the future. Now, I do have this fuse, and you may look at this and say, wait a second, it already has a breaker on the side. Having that circuit breaker is enough, and if you have a circuit breaker on each one of your batteries, you are fine. However, if you are setting up a very large array of batteries and they're all in parallel, you may want to put fuses for each string. So let me explain what I mean by that. These three batteries here act as one unit, and as it goes up, it connects to this T-class fuse before it connects to the bus bar. Same with these three batteries, same with this eco-worthy, so on and so forth down the line. And I did the same with this EG4, obviously, with this fuse. What that does is it gives you a little bit of redundancy, because if you have circuit breakers, that should be fine and those should trip. However, a fuse is always going to trip faster than a circuit breaker will. And a fuse is also pretty much foolproof, especially if it's UL listed, and will interrupt that current flow. I believe that these particular fuses are rated, have an IC of 20,000, if I remember correctly. So it can really disrupt a large amount of amperage to help protect your system. And remember, whenever that you're fusing for the wire. So with this, once again, good amount of batteries. Each one of these has its own fuse. Now, as you can see, these eco-worthies, these floor standing ones, the Gen 1s, they don't even have a circuit breaker in them. It's just a power on and off with the BMS. So with that, you definitely want to have a fuse. Other things to note: cable length. You want to make sure that all of your cables are the exact same length for the positive and negatives. You want to have the same resistance for each one of your batteries that's connected up. And that's where having the cable length the same. Now, what happens if you don't use the same length cable? Well, what you're going to notice is you'll have some batteries charging up faster than others, and you'll also cycle through some batteries faster. The other thing too is you'll have a higher amperage draw on the batteries with the shortest cables, which puts more wear and tear on those particular cells in that battery. So equal length cables, extremely important. Circuit breakers on all the batteries is something that you should look for, but fuses is a great way to add additional redundancy. Another thing to note, whenever that you are connecting up your batteries and say you have an existing bank, charge your bank up to 100% and then charge your new battery up to 100%. And then when they are both at 100%, then and only then do you add that new battery in. And you're going to connect it up. You're then going to power it on and then flip the breaker. But you don't want to connect batteries that have a different amount of charge in them. And you might think, hey, I could just go by the voltage. And if they're at a similar voltage, I can connect them up and it should be fine. You do not want to do that because the discharge rate, when you look at the voltage, is very gradual and you can have a very big difference in capacity between batteries, but the voltage looks very similar. So don't necessarily go by the voltage for that. You're going to want to fully charge the batteries up. And you can tell that because on each of the batteries, or at least the good batteries, if the SOC says that it's at, say, 100%, so these right here say 97, you can look at your cell voltage and see where that you're at, and you can have a good idea how close to 100% that it is really at. Most of the BMSs are going to kick off once your cell reaches 3.65 for a single cell in the battery, but definitely charge them all up to 100%, all of your batteries, your existing bank, and then that new battery, make sure that's at 100% as well. And then when you connect it all up, it should be in good shape. Another thing to note, say you get this new battery in and you're going to connect it up and you charge it up fully and you look at the cells and you pull it up in the menu and you're looking at the individual cells and you see that one cell is much higher than some of the other ones, or there's a big gap between them. That means that your cells have different charge in them. So you're going to want to top balance it if needed to make sure the cells are at the same amount. Now, what is top balancing? Well, if all of your cells are welded together, like in this EcoWorthy, what you're going to want to do is maybe bring the charge down to about 80%, connect a small charger, and then slowly charge it up to 100%. And what that will do, especially when you have a passive balancer like the one that's inside this EcoWorthy, if you charge it at a slow rate, once it gets around 3.45 volts per cell, that top cell is going to start bleeding off with the resistors in the BMS. So charging it very, very slowly to get it up to that 100%, that initial time, it'll help balance out the cells. But a lot of these new batteries, especially if you're looking at a quality battery like these EG4s, everything should be already balanced, but it's not a bad idea to double check your cells to make sure that they are balanced. I had no issues at all with any of my EG4s, no issues with my Vatchers. I do have a EcoWorthy in which I've been using this one for a bit, but for some reason they started to get a little bit out of sync on this one. So that's why I'm performing this top balancing to get them where they need to be. So in any event, a lot of things I've talked about in here. Some things you may agree with, some you may not, but my 2 cents, you want to make sure that you're using a proper size cable. So for this battery with a 200 amp BMS, you're going to want to use 2-aught cable. It's up to you if you want to have a T-class fuse. I prefer them. You're also going to want to ensure that you have conduit of some sort. It's recommended to use conduit boxes, or it could be rigid conduit or flexible conduit. You can use that as well. Like I said, I'm just using sleeves. And then you'll notice that there is a bolt for grounding, or a grounding screw. You would unscrew this green screw, you would connect a wire, and then you would want to ground it to your common ground. So I'll probably loosen that up and then connect it to my shop. So a lot of information in here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully I didn't bore you with too much. A lot of things I tried to leave in here that are above and beyond just a basic install. So if you picked up something that you didn't know before, definitely leave that in a comment. If you have any questions, leave that in a comment as well. And I really enjoy making these videos and hearing from all my subscribers. So please keep that up because I try to reply to each and every one. Thanks again for watching Mike's Solar Garage.